A stunning day on Capitol Hill as Dr. Blasey Ford testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee, of course, in the confirmation hearing of Supreme Court nominee Judge Brett Kavanaugh. He is still on the witness stand as we speak. She testified about her being sexually assaulted by Kavanaugh as a friend looked on when she was 15 years old. Folks have been watching all across the country as TVs and, of course, folks watching on their phones and iPads tune in to this hearing. It is still going on Capitol Hill. Let's go live to that room.
Thanks for being here.
So, folks, Ken, there's a break happening as we speak. Testimony is going to resume in just a moment. Dr. Ford, of course, she testified this morning and completed early in the afternoon. Then it was Judge Brett Kavanaugh who came to, who testified. And trust me, he was full of fire. He really attacked Democrats for what they had to say for Blasey Ford. Sometimes nervous, sometimes very composed. A stark contrast between those two as they have testified. Now, Senator Kamala Harris and Senator Cory Booker, because they are younger members of the Senate on the Democratic side, they have not been able to question them yet. More than likely that will take place in the hour that we are on. When they do begin to question, Brett Kavanaugh will actually go to them live. But right now, what I want to do is I want to go to our panel. Right now, of course, who are here. We have, of course, a great panel assembled. First off, we have Janice Mathis, Executive Director of the National Council of Negro Women, also an attorney. A. Scott Bolden, an attorney, former chair of the D.C. Democratic Party. Kim Klachik, a political commentator and Executive Director of Potential Me, also, of course. She leans right. Dr. Greg Carr, chair of the Department of Afro-American Studies at Howard University. I think it's fair to say Greg leans left. Of course, Scott is also former head of the D.C. Democratic Party, so we know where he stands. Let me just go right to y'all on this because again, when you look at all the things that actually happened today, a stark contrast between two folks. Janice, go first.
I thought the witness, Dr. Ford, was extremely credible. When you're a lawyer, what you're looking for is a client who can put the jury at ease, seem believable, seem natural. The difference between her and Kavanaugh was he was obviously overcoached. And it backfired, I think, on his testimony. But when she said, "I'm terrified," you had to believe that. That was almost the first words out of her mouth. "I'm terrified, but I have a civic duty." It just sounded real. Of course, credibility is in the eye of the beholder, but I thought she did herself well today.
Scott Bolden.
I think Democrats and Republicans found Ford to be very credible. The dichotomy between the two of them, I think, was in tone, tenor, and approach. Kavanaugh was really hyped up. I would even say unhinged at times, despite the emotional highs and lows, but he really went after the Democrats in a very political speech. This was the Trump operative Kavanaugh, not the umpire who's calling balls and strikes. And it really brings a real issue to the forefront regarding his judicial temperament and whether he's fit even, that hasn't come up, but fit to serve on the Supreme Court, especially if Democrats come before him. That's going to be a real issue. It'll be interesting to see if we have the vote or not tomorrow.
Kim?
I think Dr. Ford had a compelling testimony today. I think, like you said, a lot of people on both sides of the aisle felt that she was credible. But I do think at the same time she had a hard time recalling facts. And I know someone mentioned that victims of trauma, sometimes that does happen. Now, I will say, on the other hand, I felt that, I know, Janice, you were saying something about Kavanaugh being overcoached, but I think he was undercoached. I think what we saw was his actual personality. I think he felt attacked over the last couple of weeks, and I think he was trying to defend himself.
Great.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that what we saw today was the real Judge Kavanaugh. He's a nasty man. He is a product of elite white male circles. He feels like that appointment is his right. After all, this is the man who coached John Roberts to remain calm and cool. He is a political hack, and he's been one since Bush versus Gore. He was the one who wrote all the salacious sexual questions for Bill Clinton. And yet, when questioned by people who were ostensibly on his team, when they pulled this woman out of Arizona so that they could, as if they could hide all those old white men sitting up there with Ben Sass, he was in tears. He was in tears temperamentally in ways, as you say, Scott, that looked rather unhinged. And then, as soon as Dianne Feinstein started questioning him, he starts rocking back and combative. This is a man who shouldn't be on the Court of Appeals, much less the Supreme Court.